Hi there, and welcome to West Kentucky Academic Bowl. I'm your host, Jeremy Krug. We're on the campus of West Kentucky Community and Technical College in Paducah with two teams who've been named district champions, and they're competing in the semifinals of the 2026 Academic Bowl. This is a game of quick recall, where today's winning team will walk away with at least $4,000 in scholarship cash with a chance to play for up to $7,000 in the championship. On today's show, we have McCracken County High School taking on Calloway County High School. Let's meet our contestants. We'll start with McCracken County. First, we have Colin McCurran, who likes to write questions for fun. Next, we have Addie Richards, who likes to read. Next, we have Gavin Schooley, who's the captain for McCracken. He's a football fan. And finally, we have Athena Yang, who also likes to read. The McCracken County team is coached by Tammy Bohannon. On the opposing team, we have Calloway County. Playing for Calloway, we have Ava Bogard, who plays volleyball. Next, we have Connor Pyle, who's the team captain. He likes to play basketball. Next, we have Maya Munoz, who likes to dance. And finally, playing for Calloway, we have Aubrey Neighbor, who likes to listen to music. The Calloway County team is coached by Erica Gray. We're going to play the first half. I'll ask 30 questions. When you answer a toss-up question correctly, you'll earn your team first shot at a bonus question. Let's start with the first toss-up. This beverage was invented in 1965 and is Pepsi's fourth best-selling drink. It was originally developed for student athletes at the University of Florida and was named after that school's Callaway. Connor.
Gatorade.
That is correct. It is Gatorade. Here's bonus 2. This process begins as Zip-A anchors, a polymerized form of FTSZ, to form the Z-ring. Steps preceding this process do not require a spindle and include cell elongation and replication of circular DNA. What is this form of asexual reproduction that results in two identical daughter cells that is commonly used by prokaryotic cells?
Binary fission.
That is correct. It is binary fission. Point for you. Next toss-up. This Great Awakening preacher wrote the ethical treatise, The Nature of True Virtue. His puritanical sermons included The Excellency of Christ and A Divine and Supernatural Light. Identify the author of Sinners in the Hands of Callaway. Connor.
Edwards.
That is correct. It is Edwards. Here's your bonus 4. Regions sharing this name are located in Italy and along the U.S. eastern seaboard. The name of this region translates to foot of the mountain. Give the name for the roughly 600-mile-long area of the eastern U.S. bounded by the Appalachian Mountains to the west and the Atlantic coastal plain to the east.
No answer.
Incorrect. McCracken?
Piedmont?
It is Piedmont. You get the point for that one. Here's the next toss-up. This physicist's nephew served as president of France in the late 19th century. This scientist's work on heat and its applications to engines later led to the development of an absolute temperature scale and the second law of thermodynamics. Name this scientist. McCracken. Colin.
Lord Kelvin.
Incorrect. I'll continue for Callaway. Name this scientist, nearly unknown during his own lifetime, who was the author of Reflections on the Motive Power of Fire. Callaway. Ava.
Boyle.
No, the answer is Sadie Carnot. Toss-up 6. Consider the exponential function f of x equals 4 plus 3 raised to the x minus 2 power. What is the equation of the horizontal asymptote of this function? McCracken. Athena.
Y equals 4.
That is correct. Here's your bonus, McCracken. This music genre, which predominated from around 1899 to 1917, evolved from Missouri and Mississippi River honky-tonk players. The cakewalk and minstrel songs influenced this instrumental style, which relied on syncopation. Name this jazz precursor popularized by Scott Joplin.
Ragtime?
It is ragtime. Point for McCracken. Here's your next toss-up. For an angle theta in quadrant 1, if the sine of theta equals 12 over 13, what is the cosine of theta? McCracken. Athena.
5 over 13.
That is correct. Point for McCracken. Here's your bonus. This composer of the opera Cinderella based one of his best-known works on a comedy by Pierre Beaumarchais. That opera, The Barber of Seville, introduces the audience to Figaro. Identify this composer of William Tell.
Puccini?
That is incorrect. Callaway?
Rossini?
It is Rossini, Gioacchino Rossini. Point for Callaway on that one. Toss up 10. This man combined romantic literary elements with Russian folk tales in his poem Ruslan and Ludmila. He created the original so-called superfluous man in Eugene Onegin. Calloway, Aubrey.
Pushkin.
It is Pushkin. Point for Calloway. Here's your bonus. In this Golden Globe winning film, the mad scientist Godwin Baxter implants a fetus's brain into its mother's body. The resulting woman, Bella Baxter, navigates late Victorian London and learns that her former name was Victoria Blessington. Identify this Best Picture Oscar nominee that earned Emma Stone her second Best Actress Oscar.
It isn't Aubrey.
Tiny Beautiful Things.
Incorrect. McCracken?
No answer.
The answer is Poor Things. Poor Things. Toss up 12. Born Vernon Wayne Howell, this man legally changed his name in 1990, basing his new name on the name of a well-known king of Israel and the Hebrew name for Cyrus the Great. In the 1980s, he became the leader of a religious cult known as the Branch Davidians. Give the name of this religious leader who died on April 19, 1993, after a 51-day standoff at his compound in Waco, Texas. That's time. The answer is David Koresh. We'll check the score. Right now it looks like Calloway County is leading McCracken by a score of 5-4. Close game. We'll continue with the next toss-up. An object is dropped from 10 meters above the ground, which serves as the zero reference point. A second object with a mass 4 times the first object is dropped from the same height. How much more gravitational potential energy does the second object have compared to the first object? McCracken Colin.
4 times.
That is correct. 4 times higher, 4 times the energy. Here is your bonus, McCracken. Number 14. Works in this genre of fiction include The Little Prince, The Pilgrim's Progress, and The Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe. Animal Farm, Lord of the Flies, and The Fairy Queen are further examples. Name this type of story in which symbolic characters, places, or events convey hidden meanings.
Allegory.
It is allegory. Point for you. Toss up 15. These events are tracked with BPRs that record pressure differences to track these phenomena in the DART system. The largest of these events can be caused by landslides, and many of them, Calloway, Connor.
Earthquakes.
Incorrect. I'll continue for McCracken. The largest of these events can be caused by landslides, and many of them are preceded by a drawback phase. Japanese for harbor wave. What are these events that have repeatedly slammed coasts across Southeast Asia and the coast of Japan? McCracken Addy.
Tsunami.
It is tsunami. Point for McCracken. And here's your bonus. After one of these accidents occurred on February 3rd, 2013, an evacuation was enforced for all residents within a 1-mile radius at the site of the accident in East Palestine, Ohio. A number of class action lawsuits were later brought against the company Norfolk Southern for its role in what type of accident, which caused large amounts of hazardous material to pollute some 16 U.S. states?
You can say yes.
Gas leak.
Incorrect. Calloway?
Isn't Ava.
Train wreck.
Incorrect. It's train derailment, specifically. Toss up 17. Express your answer as an improper fraction. A central angle measuring 135 degrees intercepts an arc of length 4 pi units on a circle. In units, calculate the value of the radius of the circle. That's time. The answer is 16/3. Toss up 18. In some legends, this saint was martyred by Emperor Decius, while, according to others, he may have been a giant who used his size to help others. This saint was once staggered by a small child who claimed that the giant had just borne the weight of the world on his back. Named this saint who allegedly helped the Christ child across the river, the patron saint of travelers. That's time. It was St. Christopher. Toss up 19. The original route of this road ran between Port Huron, Michigan and Indianapolis, but by 2000 it was proposed to be extended to the Mexican border. As of 2026, this interstate highway has a total length of 907 miles across several non-continuous sections. What is this highway, which passes through the Kentucky cities of Henderson, Madisonville, Mayfield, and Fulton? Calloway, Ava.
24.
Incorrect. McCracken Addy.
I-65.
Incorrect. It's Interstate 69. Toss up 20. In this novel, set in the all-black town of Eatonville, Florida, Janie Crawford recounts her marriages to Logan Killicks and Joe Stark. Janie found happiness with Tea Cake Woods, but killed him when a rabid dog bit him. What is this novel by Zora Neale Hurston? Calloway, Aubrey.
Their eyes were watching God.
That is correct. Point for Calloway, and here's your bonus. Express your answer as a fraction. Consider the graphs given by the equations y equals 9kx minus 1 and y equals 3x plus 2. If the lines are perpendicular to one another, calculate the value of k.
I got it.
Isn't it, Ava?
-1/27.
That is correct. Point for Calloway. Toss-up 22. One of these creatures named Gog-Magog was slain by Cyrenius in Cornwall, while in Greek myth, the rage of these imprisoned offspring of earth and heaven causes volcanic eruptions. Farbauti is one of these in Norse myth. Calloway, Connor.
Cyclops?
Incorrect. I'll continue. Farbauti is one of these in Norse myth, in which they are generally known as Jotnar. Name these mythical beings known for their immense size. McCracken, Addie.
Giants.
It is giants, correct. Here's your bonus, McCracken, number 23. These series of acts were named after the Chancellor of the Exchequer under King George III. They included direct taxes on such goods as glass, paper, paint, and tea. Name this group of acts passed by Parliament to raise money for the Crown.
Townsend Act.
That is correct. It is Townsend Acts. Point for McCracken there. Right now, McCracken is leading Callaway by a score of 9-7, so the game is still very close. Here's your next toss-up. This poetic character dreamed of Thebes and Camelot and Priam's neighbors. He loved the days of old when swords were bright and steeds were prancing, and scorned the gold he sought, but sore annoyed was he without it. Identify this Edward Arlington Robinson creation. Callaway, Aubrey.
Miniver Chibi.
That is correct. It was Miniver Chibi. And here's your bonus, Callaway. E equals mc squared is a well-known version of Einstein's relativity equation. Using the speed of light as 3 × 10⁸ meters per second, how many joules of energy can be generated if a 1 kilogram mass is converted to pure energy?
Isn't it, Ava?
9 × 10⁻16.
That is correct. Point for Callaway. Here's toss-up 26. This composer scored the movie The Truman Show, in which he has a cameo as a keyboardist. He also played keyboard in his namesake ensemble, which premiered his portrait trilogy operas, the first of which has a libretto of Callaway, Maya.
Adams.
Incorrect. I'll continue for McCracken. He also played keyboard in his namesake ensemble, which premiered as his portrait trilogy operas, the first of which has a libretto of numbers and solfege symbols, and portrays a physicist. Name this minimalist composer of Einstein on the Beach. McCracken, Eddie.
Glass.
It was Glass. Point for McCracken. Here's your bonus. This labor leader was convicted of sedition in 1918 for criticizing federal prosecutions under the 1917 Espionage Act. As president of the American Railway Union, he was sentenced to 6 months in jail for leading the Pullman strike. What American union leader ran for president 5 times, once from a prison cell, as the candidate of the Socialist Party he helped found?
Debs.
That is correct. It was Debs. Point for you. Here's your next toss-up. This story centers on the harrow, a machine that etches a condemned person's sentence into his skin. When the new commandant when the new commandant takes a prisoner's place, the machine breaks after writing "Be just" on his back. Identify this short story by Franz Kafka. McCracken, Gavin.
The Trial.
Incorrect. That's time. The answer is In the Penal Colony. Here's your next toss-up. Starting out as an executive with the Xerox Corporation in the 1970s, he went into the food service industry, where he has been called the Ray Kroc of his generation. In early 1980s Seattle, this man opened Il Giornale, a specialty coffee shop that later changed its name. Give the name of this man with a net worth of over $5 billion, who has served 3 times as the CEO of Starbucks. That's time. The answer is Howard Schultz. Here's the next toss-up. This medical procedure has been confirmed to be successful only once in 2004 with a teenage patient in Wisconsin who had been bitten by a bat. It involves putting a sick patient into a medically induced coma and giving them large doses of ketamine and 2 other antiviral medications. Give the 2-word name for this generally unsuccessful treatment of human rabies. That's time. The answer is the Milwaukee Protocol. Well, we are at the end of the first half, and at halftime, it looks like McCracken County is leading Calloway County by a very close score of 11-9. We're going to take a short break for halftime. Don't go away. We'll be right back with more West Kentucky Academic Bowl. Welcome back to West Kentucky Academic Bowl. Right now, McCracken County leads Calloway County by a score of 11-9. We're going to play the second half of our match. Here we go with toss-up question number 1. Express your answer as a fraction. A basketball player scores with 90% of his free throws. Calculate the probability that his first successful free throw occurs on the third attempt. McCracken, Athena.
9/1000.
That is correct. Point for you, and here's your bonus. One predecessor of this dramatic genre was the Fabula Atellana, or Atellana. In an early French one of these works, a legal strategy involving making sheep noises both saves and undoes Master Pierre Pathelin. Their name derives from the French for stuffing, and they often revolve around exaggerated stereotypes and stock characters. Name this dramatic genre that often features convoluted, nonsensical plots, a form of low comedy.
Farce.
Correct. Point for you, McCracken. Next toss-up. The 1984 film Red Dawn was the first movie of this type released. The first Disney movie of this type was Pirates of the Caribbean, The Curse of the Black Pearl, released in 2003. Avatar was the highest grossing movie of all time with this classification. Give the name for this movie classification, which warns parents of children under a certain age to be strongly McCracken, Gavin.
PG-13.
That is correct. It's PG-13. Point for you. And here's your bonus. This comet is expected to return to our inner solar system just before the year 4400. This comet was discovered by 2 independent observers and was designated C 1995-01 by the International Astronomical Union. What is the name of this comet that was designated the Great Comet of 1997?
Isn't it Colin?
Halley's Comet.
Incorrect. Calloway?
Maybe Bob. I don't know. Never mind.
That's incorrect. The answer is Hale-Bopp.
Hale-Bopp.
Hale-Bopp. Toss-up 5. This poet from Southern California became the first to perform an original poetry reading at a Super Bowl, delivering Chorus of the Captains at Super Bowl 55. Her first poetry book, The One for Whom Food Is Not Enough, was published in 2015. Name this African-American poet who had delivered the poem The Hill We Climb at Calloway, Ava.
Amanda Gorman.
That is correct. It is Amanda Gorman. Here's your bonus, Calloway. One wordless scene in this work is a dining room battle which results in a folded napkin. A week-long isolation of this play's 2 main characters precedes a critical scene which takes place at a water pump. Name this William Gibson play in which Annie Sullivan is hired as a teacher for Helen Keller.
That isn't Maya.
Miracle Worker.
That is correct. It is the Miracle Worker. Point for Calloway. Here's the next toss-up. The depth of this layer of Earth varies in depth from 3 to 25 miles. The full name, McCracken Colin.
Crust.
Incorrect. I'll continue for Calloway. The full name of this layer honors a Croatian geologist who determined that Earth had several layers above the core. What is the name of this layer of Earth that is the boundary between Earth's crust and mantle? Calloway, Ava.
Moho discontinuity.
That is correct. Point for Calloway. And here's your bonus. At nearly 2,000 miles long, it is one of the longest rivers in North America, although only 4 bridges carry vehicles over it. It was a main method of transportation during the Klondike Gold Rush of 1896. Name this longest river in Alaska, which shares its name with a sparsely populated Canadian territory.
Columbia. I have something in China.
That isn't Ava.
Columbia.
Incorrect. McCracken?
Isn't it Addie?
Saskatchewan.
No, it is the Yukon River. Toss-up 9. This charismatic religious leader was born in Indiana but moved to California in 1965, finally settling in San Francisco in 1971. Years later, beset by accusations of using his followers' contributions for his own ends, he led several hundred members of his temple to South America. What leader of the People's Temple ordered more than 900 of his followers to drink poisoned Flavor Aid? McCracken, Gavin.
Jones.
It was Jim Jones. That's correct. Point for McCracken, and here's your bonus. This punctuation mark indicates a sudden break in a sentence or an abrupt change in thought. Which punctuation mark shares its name with a colloquial cooking measurement or a short, quick race?
Oh, yeah. Dash.
It is dash. That's correct. Point for you, McCracken. Right now we have a score of McCracken County 16, Calloway County 12. Let's move on with our next toss-up question. In this work, two female characters named their male disguises Ganymede and Eliana. In this work, Jacques describes the 7 ages of how one man in his time plays many parts in a monologue that begins "All the world's a stage." Name this Shakespeare comedy in which Rosalind enters the forest of Arden. McCracken, Gavin.
As You Like It.
That is correct. It is As You Like It. McCracken, here's your bonus. Find an expression for the antiderivative of the function y equals x times the cosine of quantity x squared, closed quantity.
Does Athena?
1/2 sine of x squared plus c.
That is correct. Point for you. Next toss-up, 13. Full name answer, please. A film buff, he had a director and the director's wife, an actress, abducted and forced to work in his country for nearly a decade. In December 2011, it was reported that he had died of a heart attack aboard a train, but later reports said he died in a fit of rage over construction faults of a power plant. Identify the supreme leader of North Korea, who was succeeded by his son, Kim Jong-un. McCracken, Gavin.
Kim Jong-il.
That is correct, Kim Jong-il. Here's your bonus, number 14. In this work, one character whispers a love confession into another's trick ear, which he lost hearing in as a result of saving his brother from a freezing lake. A copy of The Adventures of Tom Sawyer is used to deliver a message at the end of this film, after which a ringing bell prompts Jimmy Stewart to deliver the line, "Attaboy, Clarence." Name this Frank Capra film in which a guardian angel shows George Bailey what the world would be like without him, a film usually shown at Christmas.
Does Addie?
It's a Wonderful Life.
That is correct. It's a Wonderful Life. Point for McCracken. Here's your next toss-up. This Latin phrase means "from what is done afterward." Give this phrase, which names a law that can increase the... Calloway, Ava.
Ex post facto.
That is correct. Point for Calloway. And here's your bonus. This man was a senator from Indiana until he became vice president. During a vice presidential debate in 1988, he compared himself repeatedly to John F. Kennedy, after which his opponent said, "Senator, you're no Jack Kennedy." He later misspelled the word potato in a spelling bee. Name this man who served as the 44th president of the United States during the George H.W. Bush administration.
President Aubrey.
Bryant.
Incorrect. McCracken?
Does Addie?
Cheney.
No, it was Dan Quayle. Dan Quayle. Toss-up 17. Find the modulus of the complex number z equals 5 minus 6i. McCracken, Athena.
Radical 61.
That is correct.
Good.
Point for McCracken, and here's your bonus. This 18th century Russian naval officer entered the Navy in 1704 under Tsar Peter I. He is best known for leading 2 expeditions which explored the northeast coast of Asia and the far northwest coast of North America. Name this Danish-born explorer whose namesake sea separates Russia from Alaska.
Bering.
Yeah. Does Addie?
Bering.
Bering is correct. Vitus Bering. Point for McCracken. Here's your next toss-up. This element of art can be modified by techniques like grattage and impasto. This element... Calloway, Ava.
Texture.
It is texture. Point for Calloway. And here's your bonus. To evaluate patients for this condition, doctors examine gums, skin, and nail beds, and press on the liver and spleen to check for enlargement. Doctors may order a hematocrit count, which measures how much space red blood cells take up in the total blood volume. What common blood disorder characterized by a lack of red blood cells or hemoglobin can often be cured with an iron supplement?
Anemia.
That is correct. It is anemia. Point for Calloway. Toss-up 21. The symbol for this non-SI unit is the 27th letter of the Swedish alphabet. In chemistry and geology, this unit is convenient to use since it's about equal to the atomic radius of most atoms in the Earth's crust. Identify this unit of length equal to 1 times 10 to the negative 10th meters. Calloway, Connor.
Angstrom.
It is the angstrom. That's correct. Point for Calloway. And here's your bonus. Find the coefficient of x raised to the 4th power in the expanded form of quantity x minus 2, closed quantity, raised to the 6th power.
Designate Ava.
4.
Incorrect. McCracken?
Does Athena?
60.
60 is correct. You get the point. Next toss-up, number 23. In Argentina, these rodents are sometimes raised on ranches as a meat supply. They have been reported in Florida, but the existence... Calloway, Aubrey.
Guinea pig.
Incorrect. I'll continue. They have been reported in Florida, but the existence of a breeding population there has not been confirmed. What is the world's largest rodent? McCracken, Gavin.
Capybara.
It is capybara. Point for McCracken. You get your bonus here. Here's number 24. This author's first short story, Ta, was published in 1932. He currently holds the world record for most published works by a single author. He is best known for his 1950 self-help work, Dianetics, which launched his career as a religious leader. Give the name of this man who became the founder of the Church of Scientology.
Hubbard.
That is correct. It was L. Ron Hubbard. Point for McCracken. Here's your next toss-up question. In this play, the protagonist prophesies that one of Io's descendants will free him from his imprisonment. In the opening scene, Kratos, Bia, and Hephaestus chain him to a rock in the McCracken, Gavin.
Prometheus Bound.
It is Prometheus Bound. Point for McCracken. Here's your bonus. Express your answers as fractions if necessary. Solve the equation. The absolute value of quantity 5x minus 33, close quantity, equals 22.
Does anything?
11 over 5 and then 11.
That is correct. Point for McCracken. Here's your next toss-up, number 27. This artist's Salutat and Taking the Count are two of his many works that focus on boxing. His other sport-related works include Wrestlers and a work in which a tree-lined river with a background bridge provides the stage for a rowing competition. Name this artist of Max Schmidt in A Single Skull, who depicted the Agnew and Gross clinics in his native Philadelphia. That's time. It was Thomas Aikens. Toss-up 28. This SI prefix is most useful for counting very large numbers of very small objects, such as atoms, photons, or electrons. This prefix refers to 1 octillion, or 1 McCracken, Colin.
Femto.
Incorrect. I'll continue. This prefix refers to 1 octillion, or 1 followed by 27 zeros. Give this SI prefix officially adopted in 2022, which has an abbreviation capital R. Callaway, Ava.
Yocto.
No, it is Rana, R-O-N-N-A. Toss-up 29. This character with a supposedly Assyrian name is stationed with his World War II squadron on the island of Pianosa. He witnesses Snowden's death, ignores Milo Minderbender's schemes, and futilely tries to contact McCracken, Gavin.
Yossarian.
It is Yossarian. Point for McCracken. And here's your bonus. One music critic called this album the most disturbing musical work I've ever heard. Produced by British electronic musician James Kirby, also known as The Caretaker, and released in 6 stages between 2016 and 2019, it started a TikTok listening challenge to get through the entire 6.5-hour album in one sitting. Name this musical album that simulates the experience of losing one's memory to dementia and Alzheimer's disease.
Persistence of memory.
Incorrect. Callaway?
No answer.
The answer is Everywhere at the End of Time. And we're out of time for the second half. And so as we check the score, it looks like McCracken County has defeated Calloway County by a score of 28-16. We're going to take a very short break. We'll be right back to give out some awards. Don't go away. Welcome back to West Kentucky Academic Bowl, and congratulations to McCracken County. You've defeated Calloway County by a score of 28-16 in a very good match. You've just won $4,000 in scholarship cash for your team, and we'll see you in the championship match where you'll be able to possibly increase your winnings up to $7,000. And to Calloway County, don't feel too bad. You played very well today, and for making it to the semifinals, you're going to receive $2,000 in scholarship cash to divide up amongst your team. So great job on the part of both of our teams here today, and you get this trophy here to take home as well. I'd like to congratulate both of our teams for working so hard this year and making it to this level of competition. And to all of you at home, this has been Jeremy Krug. Thanks for watching, and we hope to see you on the next episode of West Kentucky Academic Bowl.